Today is, what is today?
26.
Yes, September 26th, 2024. I've lost track of time. My name is Jo Reingold, and I'm here interviewing Nancy. What?
Siegel.
I was going to say, I didn't know if you went by your maiden name first and Siegel, but Nancy Siegel, whom I've known for many years. Nancy, thank you so much for being here and for interviewing with us. Tell us a little bit about whatever you want to tell us about your background, your family, your grandparents. Where were they from? Where did they live, etc.?
My father's side is German. My father came over, luckily got out in 1937, and his sister in 38. My grandparents disappeared in 1941, and in some ways they were lucky because they went to Theresienstadt. My husband thinks it's because he was a wounded World War I veteran. They never got shipped to Auschwitz. They came out at 80 pounds, but they survived, and a cousin who had made it to the U.S. and was in the U.S. Army found them, and my father sponsored them, and they got to the States, and I knew my grandparents, thankfully, and they lived in a small town called Munzel on the Mosel River in Germany, and I visited there and seen the graves of my great-grandparents.
Which side is that? Which family?
That's my father's side.
Okay.
My mother's side, both her mother and father are Russian backgrounds, whatever that means, from the shtetl. My mother's mother was born here in 1889. Her parents came over just a little bit before. I have wonderful pictures, which if you want me to share, of her mother and her aunts. No picture of her father because he was very religious and believed it captured the soul. He taught Hebrew, and he didn't make a great living because he was very learned but couldn't make a living, so she, as the oldest, was shipped to Louisville, Kentucky from New Jersey to an aunt who had no children. So she was raised by her aunt and uncle in Louisville, and that's why I ended up being raised in Louisville.
Wow.
And she would tell the story about coming over by train from New Jersey and how the smoke would come, and she would cough and close the window, and then it would get hot, and then she would have to open it up. Supposedly they had to escape Russia because they lived in Moscow and had, they say it was a great uncle, was a major rabbi there, and when he died they had to go back to the Pale, and they didn't want to, so they came to the States. My grandfather's family, also from Russia, came over at the same time, 1889, came through New York, and then through Pennsylvania, Indiana, and then ended up in Louisville and established the Orthodox Shul there. So that's a brief of my ancestry.
So tell us a little bit about your childhood. What was it like? What kind of things were you involved in?
Okay, I was born in Chicago. We went back to my mother's hometown in Louisville when I was about 4 and a half.
Well, why did they pick Chicago? How did that happen?
My father, he was trained in Germany as a butcher. His father was a fee handler, a cattle trader, and they were going to start a business with my grandfather buying cattle and my father butchering and selling. And but then the Nazis came. My father worked for a kosher butcher, was arrested by the Gestapo, and told him he was working for a kosher butcher just to get out of there. And they closed the shop, and the owner never talked to him again. He's I'm in Gestapo headquarters. What do you want me to do? So he got a good job with a slaughterhouse up there, and his boss loved him because he was a conscientious worker. But my mother wanted to move back to her hometown, and so we came. I was about 4, my brother about 8. We moved to Louisville. My grandfather had started in the 30s a pest control company, and so my father and mother and her brother all worked for the pest control company. And my grandparents belonged to 2 synagogues, the Orthodox and Sfard, which today would be considered very modern Orthodox, though Chabad has taken it over since then.
Okay.
And the traditional, which is sort of like Knesset, which was like Tefereth, and then out of the Shurin, which was sort of like Sherith. And that's where I grew up, in the conservative, but my grandparents, my parents, and I were all married in the Orthodox synagogue.
Okay.
And so I grew up, I went to Sunday school. I was one of the few girls who went to Hebrew school, one of the few girls who got bar mitzvah, because we had a class of 30. But only, I was maybe, might have been the only one who said I wanted to be a bat mitzvah, and there were only 2 of us of the 15 girls who went to Hebrew school. Because the way it worked is that you went to Sunday school at your own shul, and the Orthodox and the conservative and traditional all went into the JCC for Hebrew school.
During the weekday?
During the weekdays. We went twice a week.
Right.
And I just threw myself into it. I've always enjoyed it. So I went to Hebrew school, graduated from the Hebrew school. I found my speech. I should have given it to y'all, and instead I gave it to my son, who became a rabbi. So,
okay.
So anyway, so I grew up in the Jewish community. I was a member of BBG, and went to college in Louisville, because I had a small scholarship. But the Hillel was so-so. You know, it was a Jewish fraternity, no Jewish sorority. I wasn't going out for. But anyway, what was interesting is that I went out. Friends had come with me, so I went out for Rush. I wasn't interested. I was the only girl and young lady who did not get selected to come back for a second. And I was called in by the dean of students, who wanted to know because I was Jewish. And if I was going to sue, and I said, no, I'm here for an education. It's not worth,
pursuing that.
Yeah, that, it looked odd that I was the only one, with 5 sororities not to be asked back for a second look for any of them. So, anti-Semitism is always there, but I didn't really, I was fine. I had a good education. I had friends. I met my husband in 1967 at the JCC. We were serving bagels, lox and bagels to the Jewish soldiers from Fort Knox.
Oh, okay.
So we met, we went to this, afterwards, we went out to the JCC swimming pool, and because, BBG chapter always met at the J,
Right.
as did other Jewish clubs. And so anyway, we met, and the rest is history. We fell in love, got married at the Orthodox synagogue, and then both of us went up to graduate school at the University of Cincinnati, where we then went to, he worked on his dissertation. We went to Germany for 3 years.
Oh. Did he go with a job or work?
No, he had a stipend. And they were very kind and continued my stipend, even though I wasn't studying at the time. I had completed 3 years and was working on my doctorate in constitutional history.
Okay.
But I sort of took a leave of absence, but they paid me for an extra year. And then I got a job teaching in the German school system, English.
Oh, wow.
So, and had no problems with the Jewish holidays, just said, I'm taking off for the Jewish holiday, and they would, Gesund to hate, they weren't good. I could have taken off a lot more than I probably did. There was a synagogue, we would go for holidays, Orthodox, I was upstairs, it's Hebrew and German, and I would pretend like I understood the sermon. And anyways, and we met a British couple that was much older that took us under their wing and were helping us find a boil if we had a baby boy when I got pregnant. Luckily, she was a girl, because the moil would have had to come from Switzerland, and he wanted first-class train fare and first-class hotel, and we didn't have that type of money back then. And then my husband, as he was finishing his dissertation, also taught in the German school system. We lived there 3 years before we came home to unemployment.
Yeah.
And, yeah, but as Jews, we felt, fine. And in Germany, everybody, we never hid it. People would talk to it. We had students in the school who said they always finish history before World War II. And they would come to and sit in our apartment to learn what happened because their parents didn't want to talk about it.
How did you pick the place that you lived in Germany? How did Mark pick that?
Oh, we picked it because another couple that we knew from in graduate school had gone there and were living there for a year while he worked on his dissertation. So, it wasn't where the archives were, so there were some archives, and Mark would go away for a little while by train, and I would visit him, and then he would come back home. And so we picked it because we knew people, and they introduced us to people who I still know and have visited with, who got me a job in the German school system.
Wow, very good. What a great experience.
Oh, yeah, we used every opportunity to get into our little car and drive Europe.
Wow.
We had a wonderful time.
Yeah. So you said you decided after 3 years to come back here. Where did you live, and what did you both finally end up doing?
Yeah, we were offered, because I could have become a German citizen immediately because my father had fled. But I knew, one, we didn't want to. We wanted to come home, and two, it had broken my father's heart. So we came home. We didn't know what to do. We came home to unemployment. There was not a whole lot of jobs in academia after we were on this. So we started in Albany with relatives, went to Louisville, went to Florida with relatives, ended up back in Louisville where I had got a job at a school that it was like Green Hill, Kentucky Country Day, and we lived there for a while, and then Mark got a job, and he worked for Federation for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't tell this.
That's okay.
He worked for United Way,
Oh,
and he was told, because it was tough,
Yeah.
they said you need to learn how to tear up checks, and one guy said, "You think this is tough, you should work for Federation." And he said, "They're tougher." And that was in Florida. And then I got another job, and then he got a job here in Dallas doing research for a company on politics.
Oh, okay.
And while we were here, he realized the boss wasn't the greatest, and he started to think how we could start our own company, which we did. And we created books on current social issues, abortion, capital punishment, women, aging, 22 topics for high schools and junior colleges, and made a good living and sold it in 2000, which, was fortunate because Mark died in 2002, and it would have been hard for me to run the business by myself. I had taught school history here for 15, 16 years, but then it got too much to work for our firm and teach, so I went full-time into the business. But I couldn't have run it by myself, or he couldn't either. And so, as they say, God giveth and God taketh. We sold the business and gave us 2 years of retirement, and then he passed.
What was the name of your business?
It was called, we started out as Information AIDS. It's an AIDS but then AIDS became a bad word.
No.
So
Right.
we became Information Plus, and we were bought out by Gale Publishing
Okay.
in 2000. And up until 2 years ago, they still were publishing our books. And I don't think they are anymore. I'm in the publishing business, and with COVID. So, but that was still a good run. 22 years after we sold, they were still publishing our books.
Very good. So tell us a bit about your Jewish life and involvement with your husband, and now even since then.
Okay, we, of course, went to synagogue sometimes when we were in Germany and visited Jewish things, but we decided once we settled down here and also had a child that we were going to become part of the Jewish community. And I remember calling the JCC and saying, where should we live? And I keep forgetting the guy's name. He was very popular here. And but he within a few years, he moved to Israel. And I can ask Anna. She always always remembers his name, and they told me to call him. And he lived in Richardson. He said, move to Plano. He says, it will be the up and coming. Well, there were no Jews when we moved there.
Right.
And I was a member of ORD at the time, just to meet Jewish people, and they had something at Beth Torah, because we had visited Sheriff, and I'm a conservative Jew, and it wasn't for us, and found Beth Torah. And we threw in our lot with Beth Torah. He was on the board right away, and then our friend Anna Siegel started adult ed, and he became her co-chair, and then took it over until the day he died. About 15 years, and worked hard. And when he passed, they named the adult ed fund after him, and our speaker series after him, because
You worked hard.
he worked hard, and we did
That's right.
a lot. And I was always on the committee, sometimes as his co-chair, so he didn't have to go to the board meetings. So I was always involved, with adult ed, but at the beginning I was also on the education committee, then became the chair of the education committee, and then I moved on to secretary and then treasurer of the synagogue, and did that for a while, and then treasurer is a hard job.
It can be,
dealing
yes.
with people, and
Right.
And so, and then after he died, I just went back to adult ed and headed it for a long time until I made a decision that I can't keep doing this. If we don't get new blood, then it shouldn't exist. And at that time, Barry also came and helped, and so hopefully I'm still on the committee and as a mentor, and so hopefully it still continues. The other Jewish things, I took Melton for a long while. I was on the board when they had a board, and was president of the board of Melton for about 2 years, and then it all changed as the J took over Melton, and I'm not exactly sure where it went from there, so I'm not going there.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
And then I also was on the Taisha board
Oh.
for a long time, and went to the Taisha, book club, and they had it. I miss that the Taisha doesn't exist, but as I was saying, COVID changed
That's the library, right?
the library,
library's
Taisha
situation,
library, right. COVID changed a lot of things. I'm still active in Beth Torah. And I forgot, I was active in Hadassah.
How can you forget?
How can I again?
I was going to remind you.
Right, I was secretary.
You're very active.
Right, I was secretary for a long time. I headed the gala for 2 years, and was very active. I did the computer entry for a while, and then I got sort of burned out, and a lot of that was after my husband passed, and I had to just heal, as if you ever completely heal, but you as I tell my friends who are recently widowed, the hole in your heart becomes scar tissue, and you function, and you can always grieve, but you at the same time live.
Move on.
Deuteronomy, I think, one of the lines, you choose life.
Right. That's right. What are you currently involved in? Like right now? What are
Right
what are you
now?
doing? Yeah.
Basically still Beth Torah with adult ed and whatever else they ask me to do. And that's mainly at outside. I also take courses with sales, which is, they changed the name, it was Seniors Active and Learning, but they changed it to
Right.
something that's not seniors, I think, to make it sound more palatable.
Right.
Just enjoying life and traveling and seeing the family when I can, because they're all,
I was just going to ask you, where is your family and how has it grown?
I had a daughter and son who grew up here and became, through Beth Torah, then they went away to college and basically never came back. My son is he lives in Valencia, but he's the rabbi of the synagogue in Santa Clarita.
Okay.
And I attend, he always had a Torah study class in person till COVID, and then it went online, and none of the people wanted to go back in person, unfortunately, because he would have liked that. But so it's my benefit because I can join it every Wednesday, 2 o'clock my time, 12 California time. I get to Torah study. Yeah. Oh, the other thing that I'm involved in is I'm head of the Sisterhood Torah study.
Oh, right.
Organized it and got involved. We're going on probably our 12th year.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
So.
And your daughter?
My daughter, she went away to school, got married, had 2 children, unfortunately got divorced, but she's doing well. She lives in Suffern, New York. My grandkids, I have 3. My son has 1, Benjamin, who's 16, and a delight. And
Did he stay in California?
What?
Your grandson? Is he?
Oh, right.
He's still there?
Yeah, my son also unfortunately got divorced, but he's remarried. She's very interesting. I adore her, and she adores me. She grew up Chabad, and her family's still Chabad, but she has become a conservative Jew. She reads Torah, and she has 4 children. That's, that I'm close to, but, But my grandson, of course, he's in California, because that's where his dad is. My other 2, my daughter has 2. My eldest, named for my husband, Mark, is 20. He's at Cornell. He spent 2 months with me this summer because he had an internship with the headquarters here of Hilton.
Oh,
and
very
then
good.
we drove back together and to New York and flew to Germany. So it was a great time bonding because he and I are very close. I'm close with all of them, but he's my husband's namesake, and
Yes, right.
he takes care of me. And he, so Mark, it's his 3rd year at Cornell. And Liam is 16 also. Both boys, both 16-year-olds are getting their license this month.
Oh, boy. Stay off the streets, right?
Right, stay off the streets.
Teenage boys, oh, boy.
Teenage boys, and he's doing well. He plays tennis, and and this one is on the wrestling team in his school in California. So thank God they're all healthy and doing well.
And you get the opportunity, I'm sure, to travel and see them every once in a while.
I try,
Yes.
and all 3 had wonderful bar mitzvahs. I read Torah at all 3.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
Yeah, we have a wonderful, you probably know her, Elizabeth Stein. She's funny. She always has taught me, and I've read Torah 4 or 5 times because it's not my forte. But I can't sing. And she said, well, you're going up when you're supposed to go down. And I said, I thought I was.
That's okay.
That's
Listen,
okay.
you
I
tried. You tried.
I tried it. I
That's
read
it.
Torah 4 or
Yeah.
5 times,
Yes.
and
Okay.
So.
I wanted to ask you, can you think of someone, or a few people, who has been your mentor through these years? Is there anybody special that you've looked up to?
Well, in many ways, I think of my father, who survived and made a life for himself. My daughter even wrote in elementary school that he was her hero, that he came over not knowing anything. He was 20 years old and made a life for himself and was maybe not active in the Jewish community, but made sure we all had a Jewish education, worked hard, was loving, was a wonderful family man. And he, when he retired, he went to Minyan every evening just so they would have a Minyan. I think to balance Judaism and secularism, you know, my parents, I think, did a good job.
Sounds like it. Wonderful. If you had to pick something, and I know this is tough, is there any particular project or activity or anything that you've done in your lifetime that you're especially proud of?
Oh, several. I mean,
That's
being
okay.
a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
I taught for, since college graduation. I taught in Germany, you know, just being able to help kids. Though I have to admit, when I finally resigned, I was burned out because the kids changed. You know, it used to be my kingdom, my queendom, and I was excited about teaching, and I feel good with what I did. I feel bad that I still can't do it, but I would not go back. It's too as a history teacher, I'd probably, this is terrible to say, I would probably be fired.
You're honest, it's okay.
Right, I would, you know,
It's okay.
You know,
You'd be on
wrote the
McCarthy's list, is that what you're saying?
Constitution, right, you know, I would teach the facts. So that, my work with the adult and being, you know, a parent and being proud. I mean, it's hard to choose one thing.
That's okay. That's all right.
Know, and yeah, and just being part of the community. I've learned to realize as you age that being part of a community, and if I could leave a message to anybody, is be part of your Jewish community. I mean, they were there for me when my husband died. I hope I'm there for other people. I listen to my son's sermons, and that's mainly one of his main subjects is we are a community and we need to help each other.
I think I'm going to end it there because you've said it all. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us today,
Well, thank
Nancy.
you for taking it.
Happy High Holy Days.
Yes, I should have told that to you.